In this video, I present a couple of practice problems in rewriting quadratic formulas in vertex form. So what I'd like you to do in this video is to rewrite these two problems in vertex form. So you want it to write it in the form y is equal to a x minus h squared plus k. And what I'd like you to do now is to pause this video until you get that done and then see if you get the right answer. So hopefully now you've already completed these problems, so let's go ahead and check your answers. If these are the two answers that you got, then you should stop the video now and go on to the next one. If you had trouble with these or you made a mistake, then I'm going to work these two problems out for the remainder of this video and see if you can figure out where it is that you made your mistake. So let's look at the first problem. In the very first problem, well, f of x is just y, so let's rewrite it. Y is equal to minus 3x squared plus 30x minus 68. And the first step is to isolate x squared plus bx. So I'm going to move the 68 over here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to factor out a minus 3. Minus 3. X squared, that's going to be minus 10x. Now watch, when I take out a minus 3 and negative 3, that becomes a negative 10. Now you could take an x out, but that doesn't help you any. I mean, it's not necessarily wrong, it's just a dead end. I'm going to actually leave a space here because I'm going to put something right there. That's your first step. Your second step is to complete the square. And the way that you're going to complete the square is you're going to take b, half it, and square it. So take b, halve it, and square it. Now in this case, b is a negative 10. So I'm going to take minus 10. I'm going to half it, which gives me a minus 5. And I'm going to square it. Minus 5 squared is 25. So I'm going to add 25 right there. Now, whatever I add to one side of the equation, I have to add to the other side of the equation. I'm adding 25 here, but I'm not really adding 25. I'm really adding 25 plus, adding 25 times a negative 3. And 25 times a negative 3 is a negative 75. So on this side, I'm adding a negative 75. So on this side, I have to add a minus 75. And then I have y. And I'm just going to rewrite the problem. 68 minus 75, I think is 7. Double check, 68.5, that's right. And then I have minus 3 x squared minus 10x plus 25. I've just rewritten the problem essentially. And my third step is I'm going to factor. And this part right here factors, and that factors to x minus 5 squared. And how do I know that? Well, I need to find two numbers that multiply to a positive 25 and add to a minus 10. And that's a negative 5 and a negative 5. So if I did this more slowly, then literally what I'm doing is x squared minus 10x plus 25 is x minus something and x minus something. And I'm finding two numbers that multiply to positive 25 and add to a minus 10. So that's a minus 5 and a minus 5. So I have x minus 5 squared. Now I just need the 7 on the other side, so I'm just going to add 7 and add 7, and I get y is equal to minus 3 x minus 5 squared plus 7. And that's my answer right there, and I'm done. Let's work out the next problem. The next problem is y is equal to 1/2 x squared plus 8x plus 35. To do it slightly different, I'm going to write out the steps over here first. The first step is to isolate x squared plus bx. Second step is to complete the square. Third step is to factor. And the fourth step is to just rewrite it so that it looks the way I want it to look. And those are all your steps. So first, let's get the 35 over here. So I subtract 35 from both sides. Now, some of you may have had some problems here. Well, here we need to we need to factor out a 1/2. Now, factor out a 1/2 is the same thing as dividing by 1/2, so that actually becomes a 16. Right? And if you don't believe that, or at least if you can't see it very well, then let's see what we're doing here. We have 8, and we're dividing by 1/2. Well, to get the 1/2 out of the denominator, we multiply by 2 over 1 and multiply by 2 over 1. Now these cancel, and you get 8 times 2 over 1, which is 16. So dividing by 1/2 is the same as multiplying by 2 over 1. That's into your first step, right? First step, isolate x squared plus bx. We have it right here. Next step is complete the square, so we look at b. b is 16. We half it. Half of 16 is 8, and 8 squared is 64. So we're going to add 64 right here. Now, whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do the other side, but I'm not really adding 64. I'm really adding 64 times 1/2, so I'm really adding 32, so I'm going to add 32 to this side. And now I'm just going to rewrite what I have. I have y minus 3, I think that's right, negative 35 and a positive 32 is negative 3, 1/2 x squared plus 16x plus 64. And I'm going to factor what's inside the parentheses here. And that's going to be x plus 8 squared. Now I simply need to get the negative 3 on this side, so I add 3 to both sides, and I get 1/2 x plus 8 squared plus 3. And that's my answer. I'm going to box it and send it home. Now, if any of you are having troubles of this step right here, of this factoring, or from the step from here to here, then what you want to look at is there's a series of videos on completing the square that you can watch, and that will go over more of the how and why going through those two steps. Otherwise, we're done.